decade. And my hair is turning gray, and it's worth every second, I promise. Yeah, VFW. We've really wanted that one for a long time. And of course, in classic Mid-South fashion, it rained all night the night before. So I'll end with this. Definitely check out the website for all information that's coming. I've already started booking bands. We've already been talking with this really cool new Champagne trailer little truck called Tiny Bubbles out of Oklahoma City that our friend has opened and started. So we're already in motions for next year. It's happening. But with this pivoting and with so many less people showing up, we had about 100 people, I think, do the 100-mile route here in town. And that was the whole point. Stay in your space. But we had about 100 people from Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Wichita, of course, Stillwater, do the ride. For the very first time, I got to do the ride, actually. So I've never done it. I've always been at the finish line every single year for every single participant. I've been at the finish line. And we were waffling back and forth. And of course, everyone at the shop was like, if you're at the bike shop all day on Saturday, you're going to be a mess and you're going to be wanting to hug everyone and you're not going to be able to do that. So why don't you just go ride? So I finally said, okay, let's do it. So I rode my single speed bike, which has no gears because it was muddy. And if you have gears, you're probably going to break them with all of this mud. And yeah, so I brought a couple pieces of fun swag. I have a question. So how many hours do you think it took me to do the 104-mile route? Any guesses? Mark says 11. Nope. Not 16, not quite that long. There were people out there longer than 16 that we found out later, which freaked me out. Somebody was out there almost 24 hours and they did it though. They're crazy. Yes. How many minutes? Nope. 28. 12 hours, 28 minutes. Michelle, this is for you for doing a happy buck. Boom. I got a couple more. Okay, well, I got one left. All right. So yeah, it took me 12 hours and 28 minutes. From mile 52 to 62, there's a gravel road just south of Sooner Lake. Does anyone know that gravel road? Yeah. Don't drive down that one either. There's a bridge out in the middle of that one in that 10-mile section, and it took me 3 hours plus to go 10 miles. So I was doing about 3.33 miles per hour. And I was having the best time. So if anybody ever complains to me about the conditions ever again, I can say, I've been there, I've done that, and I would rather it be muddy because you know what? Anybody can ride on a flat, hard-packed dirt road. But if you need to walk for basically, I think we were probably walking somewhere between 12 and 15 miles between all the roads that were impassable. And man, it was just a beautiful Oklahoma day. It was just great. So Mid-South, muddy or not, I think that we're putting on one of the best events in the country. And we're doing it right here. And Mark's been a huge supporter for a long time and really appreciate him. And Sarah's crushed it a million times. I know I've told you guys that. She's been on the podium. She's an incredible rider. So here's to the next 10 years, Mid-South. And I'll take any questions at all if you guys have them. So. So when they do that, it pulls everything from the sides of the roads and it causes flats like crazy. And then the other side of it, that did you see the letter to the editor in the newspaper that next week after the article ran that said that I asked them not to maintain the roads? That's not what I meant. I just meant don't do anything special for us. But someone said, oh, well, yeah. And I said, no, I don't live out there, but I probably spend more time out there than some people that live out there. And yeah, and it was hilarious. So anyway, what I meant was don't do anything special for us. We don't need any help. All right, I got one more of these. So next question gets a Mid-South bandana, if there are any. Kevin, you have any questions? Oh, are there some on Zoom? There's none. Okay, Udoka. Man, that is the burning question every year. Max capacity. What do you guys think? How big do you think we should let this thing go? I've never ever turned the question around and asked an audience that. Oh yeah, we sold out that 3,250 for 2020 in 6 minutes, and there were 5,000 people on the website at 8 a.m. that morning. With no pandemic, I was expecting, with no pandemic, with us doing the randomizer, like the lottery, I was expecting to have 8,000 people to choose from, which didn't happen because people were still pretty nervous about the pandemic. But I don't want it to be that big. I don't want this to be a hotter than hell. I don't want this to be a waves and waves and people standing around for hours. I want it to have this allure of like, can I get in? And if I can't get in, why don't you volunteer? Come hang out with us anyway. Come to the party anyway. We're going to have food. We're going to have entertainment. We're going to have other things happening. Iron Monk, downtown to check out. Just met with Vicky Berry the other day about the OSU museum and coinciding with things happening there, and just trying to make sure that we're all on the same page and that they know exactly the dates it's happening, so they're prepared, and that their marketing can be coinciding with ours. And then also with Modella, we just want downtown to be like a cultural epicenter. So to me, man, I feel like we dodged a huge bullet by not having 3,200. I think we would have been fine because we do have an amazing crew. We do have amazing volunteers, but I'm really into this 2,500 number. And I kind of think I want to keep it there. But that being said, we are talking about a different event in the fall, but it wouldn't be downtown. It would be at McMurtry. But because McMurtry, I think, is, again, one of our biggest underutilized potential assets in town. And with Jill that is there, I always butcher her last name, so I'm not even going to try. But Jill, the director at McMurtry, is doing amazing things. They're working on a brand new ADA, all, any level, any sort of disability, you could get out there on a wheelchair trail on the west side. So she's gotten a $300,000 grant for that. So we're working with Jill on a lot of different things. But that's another idea, is that we would use the Mid-South branding for a different style of event that potentially could be even harder than this one. That would be smaller, but then it would give people that maybe didn't have the opportunity to do the 100-mile big show to do this other one that we might have at McMurtry in the fall. So once we have that going, then maybe I come talk about that too. I don't have one yet. It's on the way. It's in the works. And there are photos on the website. So if you go to photos on the website, these are just ones from here in town. And then our Instagram page is pretty cool too, and pops up. So yeah, oh yeah, here you go. If it'll let me click on it. So our photographer was following me around all day, but there you go. There's me south of Sooner Lake somewhere, just having the best time, covered in mud. I cramped so hard after VFW. I tried to ride the whole thing at VFW. And if you don't have a mountain bike, it's almost impossible unless you're a really good rider. And I almost made it, but I pushed it too hard. It was mile 25. And I almost fell off my bike because I'm not in shape. Number one, I have not been riding my bike enough to do a 100-mile ride, but I did it anyway. And yeah, I've never cramped that bad in my entire life. It was crazy. Yeah, so, last year, everybody's plans changed with traveling out of town, getting on airplanes, those kinds of things. Kind of the focus for recreation was stay local, go to the lake, camping, biking, running. How did last year affect you guys in the shop with respect to expectations, previous year performance, budget, sales, that kind of stuff? Biggest year we've ever had in sales by $200,000. I'm not ever afraid to talk about numbers, so you can always ask me. But availability of bikes is getting worse as we speak. So we're starting to see things to where if we didn't put in a preseason order months and months and months ago, at sometimes almost 12 months ago, we may not see product until 2022. And Trek, Trek is in a way where their biggest players are getting product, but then, people like us who are smaller and one store operations, really difficult. Parts right now, one of my regional managers is texting me when chains go in stock and asking me if we need them. And chains, we're only able to order 5 chains per day of a certain part number. Chains. It's insane. I know this is happening all over the place. I mean, lumber prices are through the roof, like you name it. Like we don't even have to go down the path. But I'm sick and tired of telling people no. I'm sick of the answer being, we don't have that. We're not sure when that's coming. We have a wait list of 7 pages deep with bikes on it, trying to figure it out. I was terrified at first. I thought this could be really bad. And we're still not through it yet. But what I did not expect was for the boom to be so big. But yeah, no, I mean, gyms were closed, right? Pools were closed. People weren't going indoors. They're only going outdoors. So kayaks are sold out. You name it. Outdoor stuff has just been amazing. So what my hope is, especially for our town, if let's just think about Stillwater only. My hope is that the ridership has exploded. We've seen a growth throughout the bicycle industry global of 150% plus. If we can retain even, let's just be realistic. Let's retain 5% of those riders, right? 5% out of this 150% increase. That's still an entirely brand new generation of people riding bikes. And if we could do that, even just locally here, the landscape of conversations around infrastructure, around, health, wellness, culture could all be different. So I've actually been thinking about going to the city council meetings every Monday. I'm not going to do this, but I'm just going to tell you what I have in my mind. I think I want to just go to the city council meetings whenever they allow me to just, they allow people to come up and talk. And I just want to say, hello, community of Stillwater. We have a walking problem, not a parking problem. Have a good night. And that's what I truly believe. You guys drive around downtown, 2 blocks from anywhere that you want to go, you can park. And if you go to Walmart, you've heard this story a million times. You're going to walk how many extra blocks just to get from your car to the backside of that store to get your milk and eggs, and then to the front. So we don't have a parking problem. I've heard all of this crazy stuff about Zanotti's and how upset people are about how it's impeding the front of Summit and it took away 3 parking spots downtown and all of this. But I don't know if you guys seen it on a nice night, but the place is packed and it's generating revenue that could have very easily gone to a place that serves dinner out of town, because those people live on the outskirts of town most of the time they're eating at Zanotti's anyway. And it's awesome. I think that Drew crushed it. I think that patio is amazing. And I encourage you, if you like that type of thing, to go get a drink and get some food, because it's good. It's some of the best food in town, I think. Sorry, that's off topic. And Kevin, I'm not repeating the questions. I'll try that. You say you don't want this to become the hotter than hell. So number one, I've ridden the hotter than hell. I loved it. What do you not like about it? So question is, I don't want it to become hotter than hell. Why not? It seems, I've never been, first and foremost, but what I've heard about the waiting, at least from the participant standpoint, that the beginning waiting just seems crazy to me, that many people in one space trying to get this one thing done. It also feels unsustainable for our team. Like we would have to grow, right? We would have to grow in numbers as a team. And I don't think I really want to do that either. I love the small, familial feel that we have. And I think that's what I don't want to lose. Did you feel like a familial community vibe? I was just blown away by the whole atmosphere. Sure. Everything that was going on. And I don't know, Mark, how long did we wait before we took off? 40 minutes. Yeah. Which, if you're there to do it, you're fine with it, right? You'd be patient to do it. I think I want to grow the event from a festival standpoint to feel that same way, but with less riders. I can't hug 10,000 people, man. I can't do it. I might be a hugging problem. I just can't do it. Maybe I could do it once, but that would be the only time. I don't know. There's something about that number, and I've been to a lot of events now, and I like that number of 2,500 that feels huge, but also feels manageable. And I think for Stillwater in general, I think we can draw those numbers in different ways by not increasing ridership. And that's my plan. because I do want it to grow. Because I mean, we have to, right? I mean, we don't have to, but I want it to grow. There's a mountain bike race that I do in Spearfish, South Dakota, called the Dakota 50. It's 50-mile mountain bike race. Again, they're limited by national forest and permitting on how many people they can have in the national forest, but they do 700 people. Sarah's been and done it, and it's the coolest vibe. It's so cool, and they've been able to sustain that 700 to 800 person sellout in seconds for 20 years, and that's what I want to do. I want to focus on quality and not quantity, and I think that if we start to go that direction of 5, 6, 8, 10,000, it will suffer in quality. It just will. Like, there's no way without growing the organization to a big way that, and I don't know, I really like being in control, I guess. And I don't really want to give it up because I don't see a reason to. I think that what we have is killer and it's not broken, so we don't need to fix it. Any other questions? Did I keep everybody too long again? I feel like I always do that. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to me always. Thanks to Mark for asking me to come.
All right. Well, thank you, Bobby, for your presentation, and thank you for your passion and influence in this community. It's appreciated. Stillwater Frontier Rotary supports literacy, and so we'll be donating another book in your honor to the Stillwater Public Library. And we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting with the 4-way test led by Sarah Seams. Sarah?